Okay, this is what my hair looks like when I blow it dry. It's still not totally dry, but I thought I would show you how I deal with my hair. It's pretty awful. And my life is an exercise in making the best of a bad situation or adaptation, I guess you could say, learning to adapt because you should see how I have to do this. I don't know if I can show you. But over here is I'm sorry about the mess behind this. My studio's a mess. I see all my clothes are in here because I have cats in my other room who were jumping up and getting it. But this is a parrot stand that I bought from my African gray that he has no interest in using. So it's my little stand. Here's my spray bottle for water. I have some facial wipes and deodorant and then here's where I put my straightener, which I'm going to turn on right now. And I have this little one that's for my bangs only. And then down here, I have my curling iron. And so I don't know if I can really show you accurately the setup down here. Let's see, what am I looking at? I'm trying to see what it's looking at. Yeah, there's my extension cord thing. Yeah, my life is very interesting. So and there's my mess behind me. We don't want to look at that. You don't want to see that. There. Trying to get this positioned somewhat so we don't have to look at this ugly stuff behind me. So yeah, this is my life. On the other side is I have a Buddha. I have some geodes. I have this beautiful amethyst with a crystal in the middle of it and a little bit of a smoky quartz crystal right there, I think. It's beautiful. I also have this one. I hope I can get it back in. This is green onyx with an amethyst in the middle of it. I love that. Yeah, I love my crystals. I have blue calcite. I think that's what that is. A beautiful agate that I found on the beach many years ago. What else do I have? Oh, I have just a crystal. And I have a couple of rose quartz crystals, and a rose quartz worry stone. And I've got all kinds of little papers and shit here. I'm crammed in here. I've got this really cool Tibetan bell. It's got like a unicorn on it. It was my mom's, but I just love the way it sounds. And I have one of these. These are called orgons. I'm not sure how you say it, but they're supposed to bring good energy. And I'll tell you, I bought this one and a couple of other ones, I think. And this was back when my husband and I were together, obviously before he died. And he and I we weren't getting along. So I bought a couple of these, and I swear, he didn't know anything about them. He never even knew these existed. I put one in my nightstand next to my bed. I put one in the living room and one in the dining room. I put them in all the areas that we were in. And all of a sudden his mood changed. I don't know if it's real or not, but I think they're pretty and I have them all over my house. So anyway, back to my mop on my head. I really, really hate doing this. Ugh. It really needs to be trimmed. It's all kind of one length, and I don't like that. There's a few shorter ones, but it was getting long, so I trimmed it, and it's trimmed it up to about the same length as the shorter ones. So anyway, all of you who think you want curly hair, just shut up. Sorry, you don't know what you're talking about. You don't know what you're saying. Just trust me, you don't know what you're saying. Curly hair can be good if it curls, but mine, I just, I've been wearing it curly for probably the last maybe 2 months, month and a half, whatever. And for the most part, I like it. It's okay, but after a couple of days, it just starts separating, and then it gets pokey, and it just hurts. It hurts to touch. It hurts my chin, and it's like, ah! So yesterday, I just decided, fuck it, I'm straightening it, even though it was all curly. And today, I just took a shower, and we'll see what happens. So this is the routine that I have to go to if I want it straightened. But see, look at I just hate that it does these weird curls. And then I was watching somebody else on a reel yesterday who was making these, and I thought, what are you doing? We're just never satisfied. So what I do is I take a section. That's actually quite a bit. That's okay. And then I twist this up, put it on top of my head, and I go first. Oh, I've got a little bit too much, I think, for this back part here. I take my flat iron and I just press it together. I look in the mirror, not my phone, and just try to get all the kinks out of it. It doesn't, and this is a wet to dry flat iron that gets really hot. I have it at about 390, and it gets so hot I can hardly touch my hair, and it's not even, it goes up to 450. I used to do it at like 410, and I thought, well, it's doing that much different. So there's that. Then this piece, then I take my trusty 1.5-inch curling iron, because if I do it too small, it just curls too much. I don't want that. So I just put it on the ends. I know a lot of people don't do it that way. They wrap the ends around, but my hair is really coarse. It's really coarse. I don't know if you can tell, but it's coarse, and the gray hairs are really coarse, and they kind of have a mind of their own. So then I just do that, try to put a little curl on the end of it. You can't really see it very well. Maybe a little bit too tall here. No, it's too much trouble. You'll see it on the next one. And then I just go back and I do this. I do another one. Take another. The thinner I do them, it takes longer, but it works better usually. But I'm not too hopeful about this. And the thing is, okay, back to the curly hair thing. You people with straight hair or, wavy hair, you have no idea what you're talking about. It's, what your hair is going to look like every day. I never know what the hell my hair is going to look like. Even when I do this, it's always a crapshoot. And then it's always, let's see, what's coming up? Okay, I'm going to wash my hair this day. What do I have to do? Do I have to go anywhere? Is there any meetings or anything important that I have to do? So I have to time it so that my hair will be either newly washed or maybe a day after. I can't do it. It just, especially if it's curly, it's like, shit. It's a crapshoot. I'm telling you. You never know what the hell you're going to look like. And I'm so sick of it. I'm so tired of it. Sometimes I just wish shaved heads were a thing. I'd fit right in. I'd just shave this shit off. And I don't wear it short because you have to get it cut all the time. And it's maybe looks good for a week. Maybe like a couple of days out of a week. It might do what I want it to. I'm not exaggerating. And so, it's cut. It works for that. It's a little weird when you first get it cut. Then the next day it's like, oh, okay, this will be okay. And then the next day after that, it's kind of okay. And then it starts growing. And when you have curly hair, the hair grows, but it grows in a circular motion. So on one day when it's curved back this way, it looks good. And then the next day it goes around and it's sticking out this way. So it's not the same. You guys don't appreciate what you have, and that's what you probably say to me. But you know what? I don't appreciate it because I don't like it. My dad. Oh, someday maybe I'll just do a little talk about my dad. My dad, everybody loved my dad. He is just this great guy. Everybody's the neatest person. Oh yeah, it's just wonderful. Such a fun guy, and he was. It was very fun. He was funny. He told stories. He was very gregarious, very had a great personality. But he had an affair with a woman at work and left my mom after 26 years of marriage. After they waited till my sister graduated and went to college before he and his wife, later, he and his mistress decided to actually lower the boom. But I was 13. I was still in junior high. I was in 8th grade. And my dad just left. he left, and he moved across town, moved about 20 miles away. And I remember being invited to, I must have been their reception or something after the wedding. And when they got married, and just thinking, who are these people? And she had 4 boys. She only had custody of 3 of them. Her mother had gotten custody of her oldest for somehow. I don't know the story on that. So she had 3 boys. They were all younger than me. And they're all, we're going to their house. I'm going to their house for this reception. The most awkward thing. And I was already a quiet, introverted kind of person anyway. I never really thought my dad liked me that much. And I was just like, what the hell's going on? Then they didn't have there was no visitation set up, nothing, just no regular visitation. They would call once in a while, but I'd have to go over to their house, and the little boys they had an old house. They had an old house that had the old kind of doorknobs, with the keyhole. So they'd be peeking through the keyhole while I'm getting dressed, it was just awful. It was awful. They had this pool table. It's a really cool old house. This old billiard table in their basement. All the cool things. And here's Mom and I. We had to get rid of the dog that we had just gotten and move into an apartment, little probably 800 square foot apartment. No washer and dryer. We had to use the laundromat, and it was awful. And then a few, let's see. Oh, I don't know. It must have been a couple of years later. They moved to 100 miles away to another city, and then I would have to ride the bus because I wasn't old enough to drive yet. So I would ride the bus every once in a while down there for Christmas, and I get down there the first time. Mind you, I have always, at that point, I always wanted a big dog. I wanted a horse. I wanted to live in the country. I mean, those were like little girl dreams. I was a horse person. And I go down to their house the first time, and they're living on 1 acre. Granted, they were just renting. I don't think they bought that house. They were living in this house on 1 acre with a horse, and they had a black lab. And I thought, well, isn't that, so I would go down there, and I'd be so depressed when I came home. I'd just be so sad because, here he is. He abandoned me, basically. I'd see them maybe 2 or 3 times a year, maybe. He never came to see me, except for my graduation, and then he just left right after I graduated. Oh, see ya, good job, and then left. That was it. Nothing special. And that was later. But anyway, so I went down to that house, and I would just go home. I'd just be so depressed. And then a couple years later after that, they moved to another place that was a 3-hour drive. It was like 150 miles away. It's just like he just kept going farther and farther away. And it was awful. I was the stepchild, even though he was my dad, my blood father. They had all these inside jokes and, that familiarity of being with each other all the time. And then I'd go over there for Christmas, and maybe in the summer I would go over there and go camping with them or something. And, I'm expected to just deal with it, just fit in. And it's like nobody ever thought, no one ever in this whole entire time asked how I was doing. No one. My mother was brokenhearted. She was a basket case. I can't fault her. Her world had just been destroyed. And here's my dad just having a good old time and just, oh yeah, come on over. This will be so fun. It'll be great, and I'm just the life of the party, and it was awful. It was a really horrible time in my life. I was so messed up. I just think about it. I look at it now, and at the time, I was just getting by. And when I was in high school, my best friend and I, used to hang out a lot, and um, I was just always crying. I just realized I was always crying. I was either sad because I didn't have a boyfriend, and I was just a mess. And I didn't really see it that way at the time, but I was a mess. I don't think I had my curling iron hot enough. I have to have everything really hot. My hair just goes, whatever. So anyway, yeah, that was horrible. Um, so then I get married and have kids, and I my first two kids, my first three kids. Well, no, my first two kids were not planned. Well, none of them were planned. Well, the last one, sorry. The first two kids, my oldest kid, son, who is deceased, he was from my first marriage. And then I started dating, later on, a few years later, I was dating my second husband and ended up getting pregnant. And when I told my dad, he goes, "Oh no." It's like, "Oh, thanks, Dad." I wasn't feeling that way, but now that you mention it, oh no. It's like, "Thanks, Dad, for your support." He just, there you go again, just making me feel great. So anyway, oh, there's just so much. There's so much. Yeah. So, men, kind of over it. I'm over men. I'm over. I mean, he really, really fucked me up. Um, then, then my stepbrother uh, decides that they're going to build an apartment for my dad to live in, because they were living in Arizona. They had moved. My dad and his wife had moved to Yuma, and they were working down there. But then they would come up here, because I live in the Northwest. They would come up here for the summer because it would get so hot. And so they had a motorhome. And then they would come over because I lived in the valley. Her kids lived over in Central Oregon. And I lived in the valley. So they'd come up and spend all summer over there and then come over for maybe a week or a weekend, and see my kids. It's like I was just always an afterthought. And the clincher was my dad just only died like 2 years ago. He lived to be 102. I almost feel like that was a curse that I was given. I used to kind of wish he would just die. I mean, I don't mean that in a mean spirited way, because my dad, he was my dad. I didn't hate him. I just didn't like him very much. I just resented the way he treated me. And I just wish he would die so that I wouldn't have to think about him anymore. I wouldn't have to talk to him. I wouldn't have to deal with it anymore. Because I'd have to call him, or he'd call every month or so, and oh, how's the weather? We would just have these superficial, stupid conversations that meant nothing. And so on his 100th birthday, well, first I went down to Yuma for his 95th birthday, and he was living in this RV place, not mobile home place, where a lot of them are like down there. And I'm not doing a very good job of this, and I don't really care. So I went down, and they were having a big party for him, the birthday party for all the residents and stuff, whatever, at their little hall. And the bangs are always a pain in the ass. So I went down for that, and all these people are getting up there talking, telling stories about my dad, how great he is, and he was fun. He was a lot of fun. He was just one of the life of the party kind of a guy. And he really was kind to most people, just not me. He just didn't get it. He just didn't get it. I don't think he realized how much damage he did. And if you don't feel like you're worthwhile to your dad, how do you feel worthwhile? I've never felt worthy of anything. So anyway, everybody's up there talking, telling all these stories, and I thought, I can't go up there. I don't have anything to say. I don't have anything anybody's going to want to hear. They're not going to be positive stories, that's for sure. I couldn't go up there. And then he's up there talking about how well, there it's better. Talking about everybody in his life, and he goes to my stepbrother and he says, or no, first he goes to me and goes, oh, and there's Judy. Yeah, she's just so special. And then he goes on to Janelle, this woman that he used to travel to Hawaii with. It was like, could be his daughter. I don't know. She was younger than me by maybe 5 or 10 years. So, okay, now I'm going to turn this little guy on for my bangs. So he would, I'm sorry, I'm really distracted. He was talking about her and how great she was. And then he pulls my stepbrother up there. And he says, now, he is just the neatest guy I've ever met in my life. This man is just so wonderful. And he just goes on and on, raving about his stepson, which I get it. He's a good guy. There's nothing wrong with it. But I'm thinking also, he had the privilege of growing up with my dad and being influenced by my dad's good work ethic. And I mean, my dad was a good guy. He just was a shitty freaking father. So anyway, I got a call, so I had to start over. So anyway, that was just like, this is bullshit. I cannot believe he just sat up there and raved about Mark and said basically nothing about me. I'm his daughter. I'm his full-blooded daughter. And he didn't even mention my late sister. My sister died 24, 24 years ago. 24 and a half years ago. When she was dying, she didn't even want him to come talk to her. She wouldn't talk to him because she was mad at him for the way he treated me and the way he treated her. And, it's just like we were this big, and he was, his kids were that. Anyway, it was terrible. So, yeah, yesterday was Father's Day, and it's like, good, I don't have to call Dad. And that sounds terrible. I mean, I feel bad even saying that, but I've thought about my parents. Excuse me. And my nuclear family, it was just me, my sister, my mom, and dad, until they split up when I was 13. And it was like we were 4 people just sharing a home, living in this house. There wasn't a lot of demonstrative behavior. Nobody was hugging and kissing or saying I love you, or even really talking that much. I don't remember conversations. My sister thought I was dumb and stupid, and she didn't want anything to do with me. She was about 4.5 years older until we got older. Then we became friends. But as a kid, she didn't want anything to do with me. I was stealing her thunder. And then I got to thinking the other day, my mom had a stillborn baby between me and my sister, before me. And it was a girl too. But there's a part of me that wonders if they didn't connect with me because of that baby. Maybe I was, I don't know. My mom did the best she could. She wasn't horrible. Nobody beat me or anything. I wasn't treated terribly. It was indifferent mainly. I didn't feel uber cared for. I just felt like I was just there. I was just raising myself. I spent most of my time alone. We lived across the street from the playground at the elementary school I went to. So I would just go over there and just play by myself all the time. My best friend lived about 10 miles away, or I don't know, 5 miles away. And, I couldn't just go see her when I was in elementary school. You had to have a ride, and nobody was going to do that. And so I didn't have anybody really, none of my friends lived near me. So I didn't have anybody to really play with. So I just played by myself. I played, I went and played on swings. I shot baskets. I hit balls against the gym wall. I just entertained myself, which is what I still do. I've been a loner my whole life because that was my life. And the people in my life didn't make me feel worthy of anything, really. I wasn't worthy of talking to. I wanted to play piano so bad when I was a kid, but I was too afraid to ask. We had a piano. My sister took lessons when she was, younger, and she didn't like it, so they got rid of the piano. Nobody thought maybe I might like it someday. It's just stuff like that. It just, it just didn't. It was just that was my life. So anyway, I kind of got off onto a pity party, and I don't mean to sound like that, but I just think it's, it's pretty shitty. I had a pretty shitty dad. He was good to some people, but not necessarily me. Okay, now I'm just going to try to get these to go somehow where I want them. I kind of need to look in the mirror because that's not quite the same. Well, it's close. Not exactly perfect, but you know what? Good enough. I think I need to get this to go straight around. I cut my bangs deeper, this way when I had it curly because it was not working for me, and now it kind of looks dumb. I don't know. They're just dumb. I don't like my bangs. I keep trimming them, and then I screw them up. And but you know what? I'm still here. This is okay. I can live with this. So I'm going to turn this off, put this back over here in my little pile of devices, and ta-da! I know I haven't put any makeup on, which is, you don't want to watch that. So that's kind of a little bit of my history. Yeah. And I think I brought up my dad because he's the one that had the curly hair. So he not only fucked up my life, he fucked up my hair. What do you say? Anyway, I hope you're having a great day. Talk to you later. Bye.